What's up, guys? Brand new video from Hollywood today. We have Quentin Tarantino blasts woke Hollywood on the Bill Maher show. So this is a long time ago, about 2 years ago, and it's basically an ideology, guys, an ideology that's nowadays taken over culture and stuff. And Quentin Tarantino has been one of the foremost people actually rejecting this ideology, so I kind of agree with that and like that. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you all think. Sometimes it can be good, most of the time it's probably bad. I love you all, stay free, let's get it.
One thing before we run out of time, I have to say to you, besides the great entertainment, I have always really appreciated the way you pushed back. Mm-hmm. When anyone tried to stifle you, shut you up, shame you, bully you, they tried it with the last one, with Once Upon a Time in the Hollywood, some bullshit about Margot Robbie doesn't have enough lines, and you do what I wish...
Oh, that's like anti-feminist. Oh my god.
Other people would do instead of apologize.
But no, of course, guys, we want to have equality with men and women. I'm actually very, very mediocre. A lot of people think I'm actually very fair, guys. I would hate for anyone to feel bad, like women to feel bad. It would make my heart bleed, guys. I'm a nice guy, but at the same time, it just, this woke culture has just gone mad.
Apologizing like a little pussy. You say, I don't agree with your assessment.
If somebody brings up something that actually is legitimate, I'll even have a conversation with them about it, because I'm actually into interesting thought, and I don't have to even agree with you. Oh, but that's an interesting point.
Right.
That's an interesting point. But, there has become a thing that's gone on, it seems like in this, especially this last year, where, what's the word I'm looking at? Ideology is more important than art.
Way more, certainly to the awards.
And it's just, it's like, ideology trumps art. Ideology trumps individual effort.
I mean, nobody cares about actual, like, talent and skill anymore. If I recorded Star Wars and put it up on the internet, it would get 10,000 views and I wouldn't make any money from it. Now, if someone put up, if I put up a video of my girlfriend shaking her butt on my face for 10 minutes, it would get 20 million views and I'd become a millionaire. It's like ridiculous. Nobody cares about the actual talent anymore. It's unbelievable.
Ideology trumps good. Ideology trumps entertaining.
There's two kinds of movies, virtue signalers and superhero movies. Are you bullish on the future of movies? Because
well, look, you have to always look at it.
Are we going to get back to that place?
Look, this happened. This comes in waves. This absolutely comes in waves. All right, so it's like, okay, just looking at the 40s. All right, that was during the wartime, but that's also the time that you had film noir, where you actually, even though with the Hays Code, you had these dark, dark stories that were being told. But then after the war was won, then you had the 50s, which was the first of the completely homogenized decades, where you couldn't say shit if you had a mouthful. All right, and every bestseller, every play that was turned into a movie, if there was anything sexual about it or anything, that's all going to be drained out of the movie. It's going to be weaned out of the movie. It's just the way it is. And then, to me, it's one of the worst decades in Hollywood is the 50s. And the 60s, pretty much from like 1960 to 1966, was the 50s part 2. But then what we think of as the 60s starts in about 67, and that's when New Hollywood comes out. And that's an absolute positive response to the homogenized 50s.
So it's going to come back again.
Okay, and then it goes into the 70s, but then we went into the 80s. And that's why you came up with Politically Incorrect, because that was the first. This is basically the 80s part 2, what we're living through right now.
Well, I'll just take one more go at it. There's going to be a new golden age. Please be there and part of it. All right. Great to see you again.
I would love that, guys. I would love for him to be part of it. Now, there's a part 2 here, guys, of Quentin Tarantino talking about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is interesting enough. Obviously, everybody nowadays is against woke culture. Hollywood is just ruined, guys. Hollywood has, like, no good movies anymore. Like, Hollywood literally sucks now. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, let's get straight to it, guys. 7 minutes long. Let's go.
Well, he was financing it. I was answering to Tom Rothman, the head of Columbia Pictures. And so it wasn't a committee. It was him. So we had an issue. We talked about it and whatever. And but I want to be a good partner, so I'm listening to him. But I'm not going to, stab my movie in the balls.
Was there some stuff in that movie that he thought was not not appropriate or not too dangerous?
More like he would wince at stuff. He goes, Quentin, they're going to go after you for this. Well, that's okay. I can handle it. I'm trying to help you, man.
But it's not helping you, right? Ultimately.
I know what he means.
Yeah.
All right. I know what he means. And what I'd rather not have to deal with controversy of the first week the movie comes out. And so that's what everybody's talking about as opposed to the movie. No, that would be counterproductive. Yeah. I don't care if they talk about it later. Just maybe not the first fucking week.
But your films, they have to have controversy. Yeah. There's just no way. It's just
no
one's going to agree on everything you do.
Well, also you know, but there's also this. There's also like, okay, there's real controversy, and then there's like, okay, this guy or this woman is going to write a think piece in the New Yorker. About my movie, or in the Los Angeles Times, or in the New York Times, and they're going to write some think piece about it, or on this website or that website, and they're going to go against it and talk about, this is a retrograde vision, or that this is a regressive vision, or Quentin has become right wing, and this movie has a right wing bent because of the way they, Quentin is identifying with Rick Dalton as a fucking hippie. He's that's how it's.
Is that really a take that someone had, that you've become right wing because of the character in the film?
Even this is the insanity. It's just labeling people stupid. Come on, this is ridiculous. Right wing, like for what?
A critic who liked it, A.O. Scott, goes, well, this whole vision seems more on the right than you would imagine for Quentin Tarantino. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make it wrong, make it bad, but
Right. Well, I think Quentin Tarantino is a left-wing kind of guy. I wouldn't say that he's right-wing.
It just seems like more on the right. Well, Rick is coming from a place more on the right, not me.
Yeah.
Per se, but I am telling the story through Rick's point of view. Right. And then they say something, well, how come they don't talk about, how come there aren't more black characters in the movie? How come they don't talk about the Vietnam War more? Well, basically the movie takes place between 2 days. Okay, well, they didn't bump into Jim Brown right on those 2 days. All right,
yeah, it's a bit strange. Like, you have to have everything now in your movie to be diverse. It's like, okay, diversity is good. Obviously, we think it's good. You know what I mean? Having too much of one, I mean, in some ways, to a point, having too much of one opinion might not be great. I mean, it can be in some ways, but obviously, it's for his movies, it works, guys. It obviously works for his movies.
They saw who they fucking saw.
Yeah.
During those 2 days. Well, they didn't have a conversation about Vietnam in those 2 days. I can't just deal with all the hot button issues if I'm set up in a thing between 2 days. Oh, Margaret Robbie doesn't talk enough. She spends the entire movie by her fucking self. I could have given her if you were just counting lines, I could have put Mr. Saperstein in the car, with her dog, and she could have just been having a running commentary with her dog about picking up Roman's dry cleaning and getting the book, and maybe I'll go see the movie. And that would have actually taken care of the line count, but it would have been bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't seem like part of the problem is just that it came out during the time where Trump was president, and like that's one of the reasons why these political takes on things, like that he's more to the right, or like I can't imagine that anybody would think that you're leaning right now.
I don't think so, guys. I think that most people nowadays, everyone's left wing, bro. Everyone is liberal or left wing. Being right wing is like super minority. I don't think anyone I even know is like super right wing. You know what I mean? It's very odd. It's very odd, guys.
Quentin is becoming right because your character is. That seems so stupid, but it's more of it's just a statement about the politicalization of everything.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're correct. And the thing about it though is, look,
it's ridiculous.
Those kind of like academic college think pieces, they're just fine. Like in a college situation, they make sense. I can take a book or a movie and come up with some argument that goes, that's like that's more of a subtextual argument about a film. That doesn't mean I'm right, but it means I can make my little argument,
right?
Yeah. For the course. But it doesn't. But I have no illusions that that's what the director was thinking about. Now, ultimately, when it comes to subtextual criticism, it doesn't matter. It's simply you making your little case. But in the heat of the moment, they're actually treated more seriously than that.
How do you parse out when you have experienced criticism about a film? Do you go over that criticism? Do you read it, or do you just get to a point where you're like, you know what, I know what I did, I love what I did, I don't give a fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I like to write film criticism, so I can take it with a grain of salt. One, if I know who they are, all right, then I have a sense of where they're coming from and what they're talking about. But like within 3 paragraphs, I see where this guy or woman is coming from, and they either like my stuff or they don't like it.
Right.
And if they're inclined to like my stuff and they go negative on it, that's interesting to see what it is that did that. I mean, a lot of the critics that like me didn't like Hateful Eight. It all came down to the fact that
I personally don't like some of his movies. Actually, here's a movie that I love. I was thinking about the last day. Roadhouse, or whatever it's called, or it's called the one where he's like driving and there's like 5 women and Kurt Russell kills all the women. I loved that movie. That movie's actually incredible, but a lot of my friends hated it. You know, I love Pulp Fiction. I love, all those movies because Jackie Brown. I love his, but I didn't like Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight was just, it's just, to me, it wasn't good. Django Unchained, the best movie I've probably ever seen in my life is Inglourious. So, yeah, it's very strange, guys. You can have an opinion on the movies, but to say everything that he puts out is just, it's not good.
That it was just too rough a vision for them. It was just too cynical.
Yeah.
It was too cruel.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite movies because I feel like, wow, that's the Sam Peckinpah movie I always wanted to make. It's a fucking cruel, pitiless vision. But it's called The Hateful Eight. It's
right.
The idea is there's no good guys in the movie.
Yeah,
they're all fuckers.
Yeah, and well, that's
except for the stagecoach driver. He's not. That's why he's 9. He's not part of the Hateful Eight.
But it's one of your best movies, and it's a great example of a Tarantino movie in that there is no good.
Yeah,
it's all bad guys, and it's still incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah, that's how I think. Yeah,
and chaos.
And so when so I actually kind of took it as a badge of honor that like the people who like my movies, they didn't say they didn't like this, but it was just too rough for them.
Yeah,
and it was like I think A.O. Scott, who's always been a pretty good champion of mine, he said something in the fact that, well, Tarantino's playing with racism and is playing with racism and misogyny and gruesomeness, and there's really no way you can do that and keep your hands clean.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a good way to put it.
Like some things just have to be dirty. Like I don't know why people want certain movies. If you want to see a love story, go watch flippin' Little Women or whatever the case. If you want Tarantino movies, watch Tarantino movies. Just pick your flavor, guys. It doesn't have to be left wing, right wing. It's just ridiculous.
And I was like, who wants clean hands?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want, guys, I tell you, all my videos, I want to be flipping gritty in this stuff, you know what I'm saying? I love you guys all. Let me know what you think. Stay free. Let's cut out this flipping woke stuff, guys. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one, bro. Peace.